This is the Saturday edition of Fear and Greed, Australia's most popular business podcast. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Adam Lang.
Good morning, Michael.
Now, Adam, our Saturday show is all about the two of us each nominating what we think was the biggest story of the week, the most remarkable story, the sleeper story, which is the story that's probably not getting the attention that it really does deserve, and then our favourite story. Of course, Sean Aylmer is back from holidays tomorrow, which means, Adam, you've got the call up today to pick your stories this week, and we've had to bring in a special guest judge this week to help us decide on a winner. Jennifer Duke has been an economics and business journalist for publications including the Sydney Morning Herald and The Age, and is now today our very, very impartial judge, I'm sure, for today's proceedings. Jennifer, welcome to Fear and Greed.
Thank you for having me.
All right, are you feeling impartial? Look, I'm only asking because we've had some issues with Adam's impartiality previously.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a question mark hanging over that.
Thank you. That's good to know. Well, clearly your judgment is sound, so I think we're okay to jump straight into the topics. I want to just, before we get into the biggest story, I just want to put a couple of rules in place around the biggest story for this week, because for a business podcast, we would probably all agree, and Adam, I'm guessing you'd agree with me, that the federal budget, the last before an election, it would definitely be the biggest story this week. And it's no fun if we just agree on everything. So we have to pick the next biggest story, excluding the budget. Are you okay with that, Adam?
I think it's the right thing to do.
Oh, excellent. All right. Well, I'm going to go first, if that's okay. I'm not really actually giving you much choice there, Adam. So the biggest story for me this week came actually really quite early in the week. It was pretty much the start of the week. And it's big because of the international implications that it's had. US President Joe Biden ad-libbed a line while he was delivering a speech in Poland about Russia and Ukraine. He said about Putin, "For God's sake, this man cannot remain in power." And pretty much as soon as he said it, the White House was trying to clarify pretty much instantly that he wasn't calling for regime change. He just meant that Putin couldn't exert power over his neighbours. Even the German Chancellor had to clarify that NATO didn't have a policy of regime change. So it was a massive exercise really in kind of damage control. But you do have to wonder if in making that remark, that ad-libbed remark, Joe Biden did let his true feelings show. In doing so, unfortunately, Putin got a pretty handy propaganda tool for use within Russia. But the biggest story there doesn't really just end with Putin and with Biden and the speech over there. We're also seeing really a pretty incredible display of statesmanship from Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. And we saw him this week address our federal parliament. He's done it in the US, he's done it in the UK, he's done it in Canada and Germany. Now it's our turn. He warned of the evil of Russia spreading, and he's called for more support. Now, this is a man who was a comedian before he ended up as a wartime leader, and he is doing the most impressive, extraordinary job. So for me, I think you put those two together, you have Joe Biden ad-libbing and really the White House going into damage control. And then on the other hand, you have a wartime leader who has really kind of come into his own and addressing Australia's federal parliament. Put it all together and you've got the biggest story of the week. What do you reckon, Adam? What's yours?
If you were going for a political leadership story, I think you've nailed it. But my selection for the biggest business story also came early in the week, although it has been boiling away for some time right here in Australia. In fact, it's been in New South Wales. So in October last year, New South Wales began a Royal Commission style inquiry into the operator of the Star Casino Sydney. Now, we've all heard a lot about it, and we've heard days of inquiry and testimony from Star employees, bank officials, gamblers, allegations that the Star Entertainment Group sought to circumvent money laundering and cash transaction controls. It has been spectacular. We've even heard of the CEO, Matt Bakir, reacting badly to a KPMG audit report. And on Monday, Matt Bakir resigned as CEO. This story is still going, and it is likely there will be much more to come. But the resignation of a Star Casino CEO amongst such salacious and continuing revelations is a huge story.
That is a very good story. Jennifer Duke, our impartial judge. Which one do you think was a bigger story, the resignation of a single CEO or a global conflict with world leaders? I'll leave it up to you. Your call.
You really don't make this very easy for me. Look, I'm actually going to agree with Adam on this one, because while I would accept that the Ukraine-Russia war and all the machinations is sort of the biggest ongoing story, I think Adam's right that this is the biggest business story of the week. So I'm going to give him the win on that one.
What a spectacular judgment that is. Fair, balanced, insightful. Thank you, Jennifer.
I might keep giving you points through this. You can sing my praises.
That's fine. Look, I agree. It actually was a very good story. I don't necessarily agree it was the biggest, but you know what? I will respect your independence, and we'll move on to the most remarkable story. Adam, would you like to go first on this one?
Yes, Michael, as you get time to regain your competitive balance and streak. If there were a league table for the most remarkable salary story, I think this one has to be it. So this is Intel CEO Pat Gelsinger, who worked at Intel for 30 years before moving to software company VMware. Now, he was at VMware for 8 years, and in that time, he doubled their sales. Now, that was before being lured back to Intel as CEO in February 2021. He joined on a base salary of $1.5 million, plus stock and options that vest over 3 to 5 years and rely, as you would expect, heavily on the share price going up. Now, at the moment, the share price has fallen 9% since he joined. But if he is successful, his remuneration could be as much as US $180 million. Now, that is Australian, roughly $240 million. How's that for a pay packet? Now, Intel needed a change agent, and if Pat Gelsinger can do it, he will be remarkably rewarded. Michael, over to you.
Well, I mean, that's pretty remarkable, but it's also a remarkable story that hasn't yet happened, technically. So I'm just going to put a little asterisk next to that one.
He signed the deal. That's happened.
All right. Okay. Well, look, for me, the most remarkable story, I love stories about crypto, right? And they don't get much more remarkable than this, because last week, hackers made off with $540 million of crypto from a blockchain project called Ronin. That's linked to an online game called Axie Infinity, where basically you earn crypto as you play, but you've actually got to pay to get in the first place. Anyway, hackers somehow managed to get 5 of the digital keys that they needed to steal crypto. There's 8 of them, and they somehow managed to get 5 of them. The crypto is still in the hacker's digital wallet at the moment. But this is why this story is so remarkable, for 2 reasons. Number one, it kind of damages that reputation that crypto has and blockchain has of being really, really secure. But it doesn't end there. The size of the theft was very significant, $540 million. But because the value of crypto has risen since the theft actually took place, the stolen currency has actually increased in value to more than $625 million. It's gained, $85 million in value just since the theft actually took place. I think that is remarkable, just the scale of it and the fact that it's actually appreciated after the fact. Jennifer?
My eyes are still watering at the numbers in both of those stories. My God, that's a lot of pay as well for someone, and a big payday if you're stealing. So that's great. I am also fascinated with crypto. So I'm actually going to give this one to Michael. I think that the second you get above a certain level of pay packets and promises for executives, many people just go, okay, well, it's pie in the sky. Is it ever going to be pulled off? But I think crypto, we're all so embedded in it now. A lot of us are investing in it. So to me, that's probably the most remarkable story of the week.
Adam, how do you feel? We'll cross to the loser for a for a reaction here. If there would be an extreme close up, if this was video, extreme close up of Adam's reaction, how do you feel?
As the tears well in my eyes. No, I have to say, actually, it was very well reasoned and a fair judgment.
I see. Now you're making me want to take points away from you, because I'm still going to get praised when I don't give you the win.
I'm doing this wrong.
I'm confused about the strategy.
I am too. I think Adam probably is. He's not sure when he's supposed to be sucking up and when he's not. So anyway, look, we'll be back in a moment with the sleeper story of the week. All right, Adam, we are looking for the sleeper story of the week. So this is a story that is maybe not getting the attention that it deserves, or is going to become a bigger story down the track somewhere. Would you like to go first again on this one? Obviously, because you've got a bit of ground to make up because it's 1-1.
Thank you, Michael. So for me, the strong economic story that's present at the moment, and it can be lost amongst the huge number of exceptions in the world. So in addition to COVID, the Russian war on Ukraine, geopolitical tensions, including the rise and disposition of China, this week we also had the federal budget noise, and that consumes a lot of oxygen. But amongst all of this, in this week, we have seen data coming out that is continually incredible and about the strong economy we have here in Australia. So retail spending up in February, up 9% on last year. Housing approvals up. Household wealth up 4.5% to a record $14.7 trillion. All of those factors, we've got low interest rates, we've got low unemployment, all suggesting the economy is going very, very well. Now, that also could transpose to putting more pressure on the RBA to increase interest rates. But my sleeper story here is that really, economically, we've never had it so good. But as always, everyone may not feel that way around the country. And I think that is going to be a progressing story as some of these exceptional items move on. Michael, what's your sleeper story?
Adam, did you just nominate the economy as a sleeper story?
Yeah, I did. Economic data and the economy, how strong it is.
Well, actually, I can't really criticize you for nominating something that's actually really big as a sleeper, because I've chosen something that's probably a little bit of an odd choice for the sleeper story, because it's quite public, very public, in fact, already, and involves something like 26 million people. I am talking about the COVID lockdown in Shanghai. It's being done in 2 phases. So the first one half of the city was locked down for 4 days. Now it's the other side's turn. But the flow-on effects of this are enormous. Shanghai is a major economic hub, and suddenly this is having huge implications for global supply chains. Those supply chains are already under so much pressure. But why is it a sleeper story? Because it may not be the end of it. Lockdowns are easing in other parts of China. But if this has happened once, it can happen again, because China is still pursuing this zero tolerance approach to COVID. And when you are the world's biggest exporter of goods, that can keep throwing financial markets into turmoil just by locking down one city, depriving all of these markets of the thing that we all need most, which is certainty. I think it becomes a sleeper story because we can all see it happening. We all acknowledge that it's happening at the moment, but this may well be the new normal, that China can lock down major cities for days on end, and in doing so, throw the entire world supply chain into chaos. Do we have a judge's agreement on that one?
That was like begging, Michael.
I know they're both very, very good sleeper stories. But my adjudication on this one is pretty clear, actually. I'm going to give this one to Adam, because while I think it is cheeky to choose the whole economy as your sleeper, I have a sense that you're right. There's an awful lot of issues coming out now around the way that COVID has perhaps redistributed wealth and concentrated it in certain areas. And the great times that we have had have not been felt by all. And we've yet to kind of see that really play out politically and socially. So I'm giving that one to you because it's an issue close to my heart. So perhaps my bias is coming out now.
Oh, there's no bias there, Jennifer. That's a very well-reasoned and good judgment.
Oh, Adam, it is almost sickening how much you are sucking up now.
Just in violent agreement, Michael, not sucking up.
I should be doing more of it, because now the best I can hope for is a draw. But you know what? I will still take that as long as it's not a 3-1 victory to Adam Lang.
Game on.
All right. Maybe I should go first for this one, because you've gone first for the last couple. This is for our favorite story. So this is obviously very subjective, Jennifer, but
because the others aren't at all.
No, not at all. No, but look, I think that I'm quietly confident that you'll share my favorite story this week. It's a slightly unusual choice for my favorite story, because normally I'd pick something scandalous, today I'm picking the complete opposite, and that's actually why I've chosen it. Telstra CEO Andy Penn announced this week that he is retiring later this year. There's no scandal. There was no international recruitment. There was no speculation really about his job. Just a smooth, ordered transition to an internal promotion. CFO Vicky Brady. And when you consider how important Telstra is to so many investors, it's got, I think, 1.2 million shareholders. It's obvious how vital a smooth transition is. Andy Penn's time at Telstra has been pretty fascinating. He's had to modernise a massive organisation, improve customer service, cut a huge amount of costs out of the business, which unfortunately has meant a lot of jobs have gone. The share price hasn't always been particularly kind, but it does appear that he is leaving the organisation stronger. And clearly, he's done something very right if the succession planning is so good that the CFO can step up when he goes. So when you look at what I would normally choose, something scandalous, something a little bit out there, I'm choosing the complete opposite because that is so important to all the mum and dad investors around the country. Telstra is so important to them, including to so many self-funded retirees, that kind of stability is crucial. That's why this is my favourite story for this week. Adam, what have you got?
Michael, that is a great story, and I'm impressed by it too. So I've gone a little off-piste for a story this week that's even more of a favourite, I think. And this is about our favourite billionaire firebrand, Elon Musk. Now, he's accused the US Securities and Exchange Commission of restricting his free speech after they started an investigation into a Twitter poll he ran last year, which asked whether he should sell a 10% stake in Tesla. Many of our audience might remember that. So Musk has had a history of run-ins with the SEC. In 2018, he reached a settlement with them that required Tesla's lawyer to pre-approve his public comments, which may affect Tesla's share price. So coming to this week, in court, pushing back against the latest SEC subpoena, Musk's lawyer said that settlement was a violation of Elon's right to free speech. The lawyer also, and how's this for gold, cited lyrics from rapper Eminem's 2002 masterpiece with Dr. Dre, Without Me, in his written submission. So just to remind listeners, some of the choice lyrics. So the FCC won't let me be, or let me be, so let me see. Now, how good is that? So Eminem's lyrics aren't usually used in court to persuade judges, but Elon is an unusual billionaire and the judge is yet to rule. So watch this one, and that's why it's my favourite story of the week.
I wish I'd gone second now, actually. But you know what? I have complete faith in your ruling here, Jennifer.
Well, you know what, you guys, when I was invited onto the podcast, I thought, what would I actually pick as my favorite? And those two are pretty much the stories that
Wow.
So this is really hard for me. And I am obsessed with Elon Musk and his sort of strange, eccentric characteristics and all his thoughts. However, as a former telco reporter, I am also very obsessed with Telstra and its different internal politicking. So I'm going to go with Michael on this one because it is also, I believe, the first time that both Optus and Telstra will be female-led. And to me, that's really, really a huge moment for Australian business.
Oh, that's awesome. I have to say, I think I agree with you, Jennifer.
I do too, actually. Obviously.
Of course you do, Michael.
I feel like I'm winning in this.
Well, look, I think that's what's that, 2-2?
Yeah, so maybe Jennifer did win.
I think that's a pretty good outcome. I think everyone can be relatively. I would have preferred the outright win, but you know what? It's not a loss, so I'm satisfied with that. Jennifer, thank you very much for doing this today.
Thank you for having me.
It's been good. It's been good fun, and you know what? With an adjudication like that, I reckon there's a very good chance we're going to be inviting you back on to Fear and Greed very soon.
I would love that.
And thank you too very much, Adam. Well played.
Thank you very much, Michael. It was good fun.
And don't forget, tomorrow, Adam, Sean Aylmer, and I will be back to have a bit of a lighter look at some of the news around the place. It is our weekly podcast called Safe Word. Don't miss it. I'm Michael Thompson. Have a good Saturday and a great weekend.